this way. That happens. That is something that people follow. Um, Another thing that I should mention is, imagine representing this particular diagram as a SQL constraint. Just imagine that both ABC and ABD are separate candidate keys. Either ABC has to be unique or and ABD also has to be unique. Just as a thought, imagine that. Okay. In general, both of those interpretations are sort of allowed, and different books and different papers have used both of those representations to mean whatever they want. And again, it's sort of ambiguous. At the end of the day, if we look at these two representations or these two meanings, we can say that as long as we follow this one rule that these set of relationships can only have one arrow, both of these meanings end up meaning the same thing. So that is why, as a standard, we will say that we only allow one edge to have an arrow. And then basically that particular ambiguity disappears. So keep that in mind when you are designing your ER diagrams. You would, for your exam, you would be working with a ternary relationship set, but we will talk about that later. Will now actually. Okay. So any questions up to now about whatever we have discussed so far? Okay. So now let's talk about these two types of relationships. Most generally used is the binary relationship, and the most rarely used is the n-ary relationship. I have seen very rarely that each relationship relates three or more relationships. I have never seen something that has four entity sets being related into a relationship. That is rarely the case. Okay, so so let's look at this particular relationship. So we have this A, B, and C. Yes, Dennis, sure. So we have A, B, and C all being related together using this relationship R. Before I move on to the next one, do I say this here? No. So can you guys tell me, for this particular relationship, what are the foreign keys for relationship R? For this particular ER diagram, where we are relating A, B, C as a ternary relationship with R. What are the foreign keys, primary keys for R? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Is it AB? Is it BC? Is it AC? Is it ABC? Many to many relationships. Guys, is Jordan correct? Jordan, are you correct? ABC. Jordan says all of the three entity sets would be part of the primary key. Do we agree with Jordan? Dylan, David, Alex, Wong, Edgar, Leon, Peter, Taha. Right? Right? Because it's a primary, because it's a many to many relationship, all of the entity sets that are part of the relationship, all of those primary keys would be their foreign keys. So yes, Jordan is correct. A, B, and C all together would be the primary key. But this is a ternary relationship. In general, this is a three-ary relationship. We can sort of convert this into a binary relationship by just saying that we have A, we have B, and we have C, right? And what we can do is relate all of these three relations together instead of having one relation that connects all three together, we will have three relations as a binary relation that connects all three together into a single entity set, E. So RB basically relates B and E together with EI and BI. RA relates A and E with EI and AI. RC relates E and C with EI and CI, right? So we are saying that instead of having this ternary relationship, we would convert this particular ER diagram into this binary relationship, that is with three relations and A, B, and C with a temporary or a secondary relation, that is a secondary entity set, that is E. So the question now comes that if we convert this particular ternary relationship into this binary relationship with this extra entity set, E, are these two relations the same, or are these two diagrams the same? Well, icky stuff happens, right? If we make this. So long story short, they are not the same. Note one thing, that when we have A, B, and C all with a many-to-many relationship with R, the triplet A, B, and C can only occur once, right? The triplet A, B, C together can only occur once. Now let's look at this converted relationship that we have. So we say that, for example, A5, B1, and C2. Let's take these three values, A5, B1, C2. A5, B1, C2, these triplets together can only occur once. Now let's look at this particular statement, this particular diagram here. Well, we can have A5, E1, that is for RA, EI, and AI. So A5, E1, B1, E1, right? And C2, E1. And these are all arbitrary entity sets that we have created, right? So C2, E1. So we can have this. But since there are no constraints that relate all of those three things together, A, B, and C, we can also have other constraints, that is A5, E2, B1, E2, C2, E2, right? Nothing is stopping us from having these constraints as well, or having these tuples as well. So we can sort of get close to representing a ternary relationship into a set of binary relationships, but we cannot constrain it in exactly the same ways, right? We need to add on or tack on more things to it in order to make sure that we are able to convert a ternary relationship into a binary relationship, right? Because the main reason that we want to do this is ternary relationships are usually, or in general, n-ary relationships are more complicated to implement as compared to binary relationships. On top of that, there are many software programs that are so standardized across many different database vendors. Different database vendors support different things, right? So at the end of the day, they're still supporting SQL, but your diagramic programs actually sometimes only support binary relationships. They won't even support ternary or more relationships. So how would you deal with that? So at those sort of times, we would like to convert a ternary relationship into a binary relationship. But keep this in mind, that converting it directly into multiple relations using this sort of a procedure might not result in the same sort of identical relationship that we had with those three values as the primary keys. Okay. So this gets more and more abstract as we go deeper, but as you can see that we have stopped talking about SQL altogether. We are now talking about boxes and diamonds, basically, right? Okay. So sometimes using binary relationships are more intuitive. So for example, let's take the case that you have a bunch of office equipment and there are people who use it. There are people who take care of it. For example, the department uses a printer, whereas a vendor basically provides support for a particular printer. Sometimes a particular printer might not have a legitimate vendor. Let's say that you bought it in the black or something, right? So it does not have a particular vendor. And then for those cases, we might want to use null values to represent the vendor of a particular printer. In those sort of situations, when we have inventory, that we have the department that is using that printer and the vendor, in those sort of situations, we cannot use a ternary relationship, because that means that all of the primary keys together make up the foreign keys. Because if we do not have a vendor, that particular vendor might be required to be represented as a null value. So if we want to represent something as a null value, that cannot be a primary key. And that is the sort of decisions that we need to make when we are designing this database, when we are designing this entire architecture. Right? So sometimes binary relationships do make sense, but remember that ternary relationships might also come up as a requirement when you're designing your database. Okay. But sometimes ternary relationships can end up, so basically three ADI relationships can end up being useful. So let's take our homework submission database, right? We had a student database, and I've basically shortened it out into this ER diagram, but essentially take the student database that has this username. We have this assignment database that has the due date and the assignment name, and we have the submission ID and the submission date. In this particular scenario, we want all three of these together to actually explain a particular submission, right? We cannot have an assignment and a submission date without a student, right? We cannot have an assignment name and a submission without a student. We cannot have a student name and a submission date without an assignment submission, right? All three of these together make up a single submission, right? So there are also cases where we actually need to use all these three things together to be related together into a single submission in the submits relation, right? Okay. But we can sort of try to convert this into a binary relationship, that is with student, assignment, and submission. Like we did last time, we can say that student has a username that has a one-to-many partial relationship with submission, sub-ID, submission date, the thing that you submitted, with a partial relationship that is completed when, due date, name of the assignment, blah, blah, blah stuff, right? So we basically can sort of convert this into a sort of equivalent binary relationship. But again, this sort of does not allow all of the benefits that we have for basically the previous ternary relationship. More or less, basically every student name, short name, and sub ID has to be related, right? That is not a possibility, because a student can have a submission without an assignment in this particular representation. Okay, we can also look into this fact that, okay, let's say, let me ask you another thing. So forget about that part. Let's ask you, given this particular diagram, I just asked you guys that for our project submission, for our project submission, we said that you guys will submit one particular report per group, right? Does this ER diagram for this homework submission, would this allow you to submit one particular project per student? Yes or no? Or one particular project as a group submission? Can multiple students have the same submission?